good evening, everyone. We are live and excited.
Yeah.
When you get to that point where you're facing troubles in your relationship, things don't look like the way that you want it to, or there's just some challenge or difficulty, and sometimes we feel as if that's the end, like, or nothing else positive or good, or we can't see our way clear. And so today we want to talk about how do you get stronger throughout all of those things happening. So today we are so happy and excited about our special guest, Pastor Manasseh and Kenisha, and they will be sharing their story, Stronger Together.
Good evening, Unique Couples community. We are Vito and Linda Patrick here in Freeport, Grand Bahama. Want to welcome you to another Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. Go ahead and type in hashtag Live Squad. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know how many years you've been married. For those of you that'll be watching the replay, go ahead and type in hashtag replay. If you haven't subscribed to the Unique Couples YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to the Unique Couples YouTube channel. Make sure you turn on that notification bell and select all so you can know every time we go live here at Unique Couples.
Yes, and when you think about some of those challenges that couples face, go ahead and put those in the chat for us, okay? Just go ahead, randomly put in some challenges couples face in the chat as we look at just seeing how we could be stronger together, even though we face difficulties. We're so excited, thankful, and grateful for our partners and sponsors who made this session possible. So we are excited about that. Here to Please and Party with Serenity, the Creative Nail Solution by Anna, and Signature Choices. Yes. And
Style Me Pretty by Shadra.
Yes. So we're grateful for all of our sponsors and Freeport Insurance Agents and Brokers for making it possible. And of course, Keys Realty Bahamas. So we're all excited. Thank you for our sponsors and partners for making this evening's show possible. Hello, Emily, Kathy. Let us know where you guys are watching from. We're seeing some highs, and hello, Live Squad in the chat. Hello, Mary is all the way from Jamaica. Yes. Yeah, and this is a unique situation to be in, and things could definitely happen. Watching from Jamaica. She said, divorce, looking to get married again. Second chance of love. Okay, so good evening. Go ahead, continue. Go and invite a friend. Yes, let them know that we are live and we are ready to talk about some of those challenges and issues that marriages face.
Yes. So, like Linda would have said earlier, we have special guests with us this evening, Manasseh and Kenisha. Can you go ahead and say hello to our viewing audience?
Hello, viewing audience. Hello, I guess the returning viewers of who really love to watch unique couples. Just want to say hello from Nassau, Bahamas. Hello from our yard.
Hello, hello, hello to all the unique couples and all the hoping to be unique couples out there. Welcome.
Awesome. And the yard is just so beautiful. Look at the flowers behind. I know before you had a real like garden of display. Was that in Eleuthera?
No, that's actually the yard. If I could turn the camera like this hair cascades, it's an entire it's our wall for the entire yard. So this just goes straight around.
Okay. So I thought it was the move from so this is actually the place. Okay. The new place where just beautiful scenery. Just I guess so much happening. Go ahead and share with our viewing audience, who are you? Like, who is Pastor Manasseh and Kenisha? Go ahead, tell us briefly about and we know that, hey, Pastor Manasseh is like, oh, all kids like programming. We know, Kenisha, you're all into that. And of course, a voice on so many different levels. So go ahead and let our viewing audience know who you are.
Well, I'm Kenisha Simms, aka Kensuki, and now renowned Auntie K. I think we have friends, our university friends, dubbed us Mansuki and Kenasa. That's also a name that we've gotten. I am a media practitioner. I'm also now a YouTube influencer. That's a whole different. I never saw that happening. So I'm sometimes still it's still strange to say that. But and I'm a child of God who thankfully has been saved by grace.
Yep. And not to, be outdone, I'm a husband. Uh, Manasseh Simms, aka Pastor Nasa. I pastor two churches here in Nassau, one called Peardale and the other one called Ephesus. Um, I am not a social media influencer, but I like to use social media. And so she looking at me like, I support her. I lift her up, but I just love the Lord. I love my wife. I love people. I love teaching, and so I demonstrate that through a children's program that I do called Ask Pastor Nasa, where I answer Bible questions for kids.
But yet he's not a social media.
No.
But he uses it, right? He uses
I
it.
use it. I use
And
it.
he has the page.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Keep up the great work, Pastor Nasa
Yes.
and Kenisha.
Yes. Awesome. So, how did you two meet? And like, what was that story like? I know it didn't just. Well, I'm not sure if it just happened. Like, was it in college and then y'all bam got together and that was it, or was this like a long process? What was that process like?
I see.
Well, once upon a time.
You want her story or you want the truth? You said her story first,
Three sides, right? Three sides.
Well, we met in 2003. I was singing a part of a youth crusade choir. The crusade was happening for about 3 weeks, and this was the last Sabbath, the last event, the last thing for this entire youth crusade that he happened to hear was happening. He lived across from the church, and this was his first time attending the youth crusade on the last day because he heard girls was at the church. So when he walked into the church, I was singing, and apparently he said my big hair caught his attention, and that's how we met. Lies? Any lies? Any?
Okay, so a little correction. She missed out some important details. I attended the crusade, once or twice, right? It was not my first time, but it was the last night. They were having a concert, and it was a choir full of young people. And she's correct. I saw her hair; it was big and curly and puffy, and I was like, "Ooh, that's the one there. That's the one who I going for right there." Now, after that, I had to go around the corner to get connected with her. So I knew her sister. And so I asked her sister to introduce us. And so upon introductions, we were able to say hello. And then she said goodbye. And then she left the island to go off to college. And we didn't see each other anymore for about 2 years.
You leaving out something though.
What's that?
He managed to talk to my sister, and in talking to her, he also got at that time my MSN address. And so me saying hi and goodbye, I guess, wasn't enough. So for 2 years straight, every time I went online, every time I signed in, he would be the first person to say hi, and I would roll my eyes, and I'm like, what is wrong with this child? Like, why is he bothering me?
First of all, I'm a gentleman. So, she comes on for the night. I'm saying good night. I'm saying hello and greeting her to the online space. She's still online today. So, it had a good purpose, right? But, yeah, I every time I saw her, I would say hello, and she wouldn't respond for 2 years. She would just say, sometimes she would say good night, and then that would be it. No conversations, no nothing. Wow. And I knew, the spirit was at work. I knew that if I had caught her only for just one conversation, that's all it took, I would be able to show her enough that, she would say more than just hi the next time we talk. And thankfully,
So fast forward to Christmas of 2005. I said, Lord, whomever comes online first, I'm just going to dedicate my time to just talking to them, forgetting that this person here was always the first person. Honestly, when I saw that he said hi to me, I said, Lord, I can't break this covenant I just made with you. I already promised that whoever said hi to me right now, I would just talk. I didn't want to talk to him, but because I made that promise to God, I said, I will just talk to this person. And honestly, it was such a beautiful conversation. We spoke until like probably 4 o'clock in the morning. It was an awesome conversation.
yeah. So for those who listen out there, that's what happened when you listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit. She finally decided to listen to the voice of God, and look what happened. I knew all along. You see, me and God have that connection. I was trying for 2 years. Jacob was 7 years, 2 years. I persevered, and perseverance is key, gentlemen. For those out there. But yeah, she answered the call, and we literally spoke all night until the morning because it was just so captivating, so interesting.
Yeah.
We were just like, wow, something is here, something is special about each other, and so that began our journey. It's a journey. Yeah, it's a journey. It was a real journey. How long did it take? I lost track.
How long?
It took a while before we were finally here.
Yeah.
10 years?
Plenty years.
Something like that.
Yeah, plenty. If plenty was plenty was a number, it would be plenty.
Yeah.
Okay. Plenty. So from actually speaking that first night on Messenger and the time you got engaged or married, you're saying that was like a 10-year span?
Well,
8?
We met 2003, got finally spoke in 2005. And even then it took me, even after we spoke that night, it still took me 2 years after that to say, yes, I would be in a relationship with him. So it was like 4 years before I even said yes, that we would be in a relationship. So that was 2007. But we broke up and made up and broke up and made up from 2007 to 2013. That was the last breakup. And we got back together in 2016, got engaged 2017, and got married 2017. So it's been a journey.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in terms of the journey, we want to move right into talking about some of the challenges and the things that you face in marriage, but just to kind of like what made it so long or difficult, like any words to describe that part?
Immaturity for me on my part. It was like we just wasn't ready. We weren't mature enough to handle a relationship at that time.
Yeah. What I've come to observe is that oftentimes many people, we're trained and conditioned to go after degrees for education. We're trained for certain jobs that we go, trades jobs or whatever, our future, but we're not really trained and conditioned for relationships that lead to marriage. And so many times we're just out here trying to figure things out on our own. So we're fumbling around the place, and it feels like it means something, so we go after the feelings, and then feelings can be fleeting. And so we loved the Lord at the time, but even loving God isn't enough. No, let me not say like that. Loving God still isn't the practical steps we need to take in order to prepare ourselves for such an endeavor. So we love God. We went to church, but we weren't learning and we're being molded into marriage materials. And so it took a long time for us to really fumble around and figure our feelings out and figure ourselves out, find out what we like, what we don't like, what we need versus what we want. And so that took a long time.
We always knew that there was a connection, like no doubt there was a connection.
Right.
But how to
the practical steps
work together we didn't have that training. We didn't, like, as he said, like from birth as girls, we are trained how to be wives. We're trained how to be mothers from the dolls that we get. We have to clean the house. We have to do this. We have to do that. But then we don't get the ABCs of what it means to be in a healthy relationship. We get the practicality of the things that you should
Do.
to be it. But in terms of what does communication look like? What does compromise look like? Those ABCs, those 1, 2, 3 steps. Unfortunately, as a society, we don't train our kids. We don't prepare them for marriage in that sense.
So, I frame it in the sense that we're conditioned to be like, boys are conditioned to be like providers, and girls may be conditioned to be homemakers, but they themselves don't make a marriage work.
No.
They're necessary, but they don't make like she said, the communication, the compromise, the understanding, the not holding on to grudges. Like that's like real internal work that unless you're really training and gearing yourself up and looking at examples and reading and studying it, it doesn't just happen. And so it took us a long time to really come to that point to accept that.
Yeah, and then because we were doing the timeline of what society expects. You're in school, in primary school, your focus is to do well, to do well, to do well, so that you can go to high school to do well, so that of course you're going to go to college so that you can do well. And then after that, you need to have that good job so you could be successful. And so everything academically is pushed. And that's where my mind was, to tick off the box of the societal timeline of what we should do and how it should look. So I didn't have time to sit down and learn me for a relationship, because I never even knew that was important, because society has told me school, education, and education means success.
Books before boys.
That's it. Books. Yeah. Yes. Books before boys. And then, so today it's books before boys. And then when I'm 18, it's like, okay, when are you getting married? How did that transition from today, books before boys, and then now, when am I getting married? Like that in between.
Not prepared for it. We're not emotional intelligence isn't there, and that could be a problem. So you two kind of like almost figured it out, and now you're into marriage. How was that? What challenges did you face? And early on, what challenges did you face? And then let's talk about some recent challenge you had. Go ahead.
Okay. So early on, so just getting to that point is a whole journey. And then now that you're starting together, it's a new journey. And so there are more things to learn when you're in each other's space. There's a difference when, before you were dating or whatever, and if you upset or whatever, okay, talk to you later, or I gone. Click. And you're in two separate places. But when you have to sleep next to a person, and we have to share the same environment, so you just know that they're there, but you can hear the silance.
Yep.
You ever heard silence before? like
loud, right?
Loud. Can I tell you, man, or the responses are just a short yes, no, the grunts, the sounds, like you just know things aren't right. So some of the challenges for us was still trying to figure out how to navigate being in each other's space, and how at times in marriage you can have this thing where, because you're together all the time, certain moments blend into each other in your mind. So wouldn't your mind may be an intimate moment, time together may not come across as being intimate time. It may just be we were just there. So like, for example, if I ask to say let's go and watch a movie together, in my mind I may be thinking, oh, this is together becoming close and intimate time. It's just, oh no, we're just watching a movie, it wasn't nothing special. And it's like the disconnect of trying to understand each other's love language, how you interpret certain things, like that started to pose a challenge in terms of our relationship, our marriage early on, like trying to read what the other person is doing, and is it registering on their love language register that it's something special, something for you, versus no, we just were there together because we live together, so we just do certain things, and that started to come across in a real challenging way early on to navigate that part.
The first, like I share this with persons, the first 11 months of marriage for me, no, the 11th month of marriage, I had a real talk with God. I'm like, Father, this is only the 11th month. I cannot have more 11 months looking like this. So please help me, like, fix this. Like I said, because month 12 is coming up, and that's year one. And he and I have made a vow to each other that this is us. And I don't need my other years to reflect all of this, what I'm carrying. Hence, us trying to learn to live together and just coexist and be a married couple and being a couple in ministry. Like, there were so many things to try to navigate through, where as I realized my cop out was to focus all my attention on him, in terms of I saw all his flaws. They were, I looked at him, it's like everything he did for me was like, how is this? How can, like, he found nerves in me I didn't even know I had. Like, I tell him, I said, I didn't know I had nerves in these places, and you just found them. And when I had this real talk with God, God said, Kenisha, the problem isn't him. The problem is you, because your focus has been on him. It's like, you're not perfect. And when I heard that, I was like, you're not perfect, I was like, what? It was like I legit got a slap. It woke me up, where I really realized that, honestly, I was only seeing him. My entire day was just focused on everything. It's like I was standing guard, waiting for him to do something to mess up, for me to add to the list to say, see, Lord, why I
it's wrong again.
Yeah. But when he said, Kenisha, you're not perfect, your focus has been on him, you need to start focusing on you. And that woke me up to the point where I think after that, after that conversation I had with God, about a week later, he and I were walking somewhere, and he just stopped. And I didn't even know he stopped. And I turned around and I'm like, what happened? He's like, baby, you okay? And I'm like, what do you mean? I said, I'm okay. He says, no, because you ain't freak out like for a couple of days now. I said, baby, because I don't see you no more. It's like my focus ain't on you. Like, I trying to fix me right now.
Look,
That was like what, 180 degrees turning. That was like a night and day.
And can I tell you, I was expecting or thinking that, boy, I may wake up one morning and meet the pot of hot grits on, and it's like it could be on. Like, I was nervous. I was like, hold on, it's a couple days, and I ain't hear her being irritable and sounding miserable towards me in some type of way. I was nervous, so I had to ask. I was like, "You sure you're okay?"
Really
I was
concerned.
like, "You sure?" Like,
the look on his face was concerned. I was like, "Baby,"
concerned for her and for me, because I was like, "I don't need no hot grits on me in the morning, Lord." But thankfully, it was a slogan that I used to repeat over and over and over. And she hated it early on, but she saw the beauty in it eventually, where it said, trust the process. Yeah, like it's not an easy journey, it's not an easy process, but if you trust it, if you put in the work, if you're intentional and sincere, it will turn around and bear fruit. So I'm glad that it bore a good fruit, where I didn't have to worry about the hot grits thrown on me, but rather the hot grits being served.
He had to have really been concerned to have gone that far to think about hot grits, because like every time I hear it, and I'm like, I don't know what would give him that to make him think that so that was concern. That was real concern.
It was.
Yeah,
it really was.
That's not my personality. I'm not violent. No. So for him to have thought that was some real concern.
Yeah.
So hearing all that talking and all that negative push towards you, sometimes we may not be and think that like we're not negative, like we're not violent.
Right.
But our words and what we say and what we push out, those negative things that we push out to our spouse daily and weekly and just over and over again, and it's almost as if they're feeling that same, like you're being violent.
Right.
Violent, like
right.
you get that same effect. So that's
Right.
like negative, just have a way of just being negative, and it affects everything, and it affects you physically, emotionally, in all those different ways. So even though it might not have have been something where it was actually physical, it felt that way.
Yes.
And that's something we have to remember.
Yes,
and
true.
for those of you who have just tuned in. We are here this evening on Unique Couples Sunday Night Live with Pastor Manasseh and Kenisha Simms. They are all the way from Nassau, Bahamas, and they are sharing their story, Stronger Together. And couple points they mentioned earlier where they talked about books before boys. They talked about doing the work in terms of your professional career, and we won't teach how to have relationships, and I just want to mention the Unique Couples Marriage Club. We talk about the Unique Couples Marriage Club. In the Unique Couples Marriage Club, we talk about motivation, inspiration, and transformation. We want to see marriages thrive. We want to see marriages go to the next level. So make sure you are a part of the Unique Couples Marriage Club. The link is in the chat. So go ahead and become a part of the Unique Couples Marriage Club. Marriage is work. Just like how we go on our jobs every day, we put in the work. We have professional development courses on our jobs. Well, in marriage, you have to put that work in your marriage. You have to put that work in every day. You have to communicate. You have to make sure you and your spouse are on the same page. You have to compromise. There are all sorts of things you have to do in marriage. So marriage is work. You have to put in that work in your marriage.
Definitely, definitely. And speaking about that, I don't want to forget this. We have the How to Strengthen Your Marriage and Have the Marriage of Your Dreams, even if your spouse doesn't want to challenge. It's a 5-day challenge. Go ahead, join us in the How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook group and register to be a part of that challenge. It is all free. We are going to have just a 5-day talk, workshops, worksheets, and everything. You get your videos and all of that. We have our live Q&A. Go ahead and join us for that challenge, and then you get to actually work on the things that you could do on a daily basis to strengthen your marriage. So ask for our How to Strengthen Your Marriage challenge. Register for that as well. How to
have the marriage of your dream.
Yeah, so we're talking about the tracker. Okay, so How I Love Tracker. So get the How I Love Tracker once you join the group, and then definitely register for the How to Strengthen Your Marriage and Have the Marriage of Your Dreams, even if your spouse doesn't want to. And I love what Kenisha and Pastor Manasseh said, and they talk about all of the work that they were trying to do before they got married. And, sometimes we do that and we get the work done before we get married. But even in marriage, there's a different reality because now you're living together. Okay, so y'all went through, those challenges when you initially got married. And then
another C word, change.
Yes,
because and then we also changes,
right? Yeah. We go through changes as well. And then some things happen that are, unexpected. So talk to us about, I know something recently took place with you last year. It was something that, a lot of people don't necessarily come out and talk about. It's really a touchy subject. And then as females, we're like, no, I don't want to ask. I don't really want to talk to, but I know that you were all open and willing to share your story. So if you guys would go ahead, let us know about that challenge that you face and, how you're dealing and coping with that.
Go ahead, baby.
Boy, okay, yeah, it's real, man. It's real. So we had a plan. We said that we wanted to wait for at least 2-3 years, spending time just together. Sorry about that. Outside, 2-3 years together. Just really learning each other, growing with each other before we would attempt to try and have kids. And so after that time had passed, we began to go down that journey of conceive. And so finally, she had a surprise for me. I wasn't even sure what was going on, but she came in with this whole like, oh, come and do this test with me. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do the test. Like you just tell me if something is there or not. I I don't want to get my hopes up. So, but did the test, and praise the Lord, there was it was saying a positive sign. So we're getting ready, trying to mentally get our minds together to prepare to bring in this child. And so we didn't go to the doctor as yet. We just were, trying to give it some time. People say, sometimes you don't rush, you take your time, you don't announce it. So we weren't really doing much talking until it was about the end of the third trimester. So that's what it was.
First trimester, third trimester.
It's first. Sorry, what I'm thinking about. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so we're scheduled to go to the doctor, and so excited, wanted to see, what's the gender, if anything. I don't know. I just want to see. So we're there. Doctors, starting to do all the initial tests, and then she puts it up on the screen, and we're excited. We're just flooded with excitement to say like, wow, that is us right there, on the screen, and I'm like, before this point, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to be a father, but it didn't really connect on the deeper level because it's like she's feeling everything, but I'm on the outside, so now I'm seeing it. I'm like, wow, this is it. This is real. And then the doctor proceeds to tell us that she doesn't hear a heartbeat. She continues to search and look around, and she then informs us that based on how they measure, the heart would have stopped beating a week prior.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered when she did mention something that a week earlier she'd mentioned that she has felt different.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the symptoms she was feeling wasn't feeling it as much anymore.
I no longer felt pregnant. I mean, I didn't have the morning sickness, but I had the tenderness, and I was sleepy and the other stuff. And it's like everything just stopped. And of course I mentioned it to him, and he said he is Dr. Google. So of course he went to Google and said that's normal,
Some
because
people,
you
yeah.
feel symptoms sometimes, and then sometimes you don't feel anything. So for me, that was like, oh, I guess this is normal. So honestly, my initial reaction when our doctor said she can't hear the heartbeat, I was like, oh, so that's what that was. Not, oh my goodness, my baby is no longer, like, the first thing that came out my mouth was, oh, so that's what that was. Whew. Then came the discussion of how now to remove Chickpea, because I nicknamed the baby Chickpea. And the doctor, she gave, of course, the two options was either the DNC, I think it's called, or the pills. Opted for the pills. Came home, took the 8 large horse-looking pills, and of course my body, I went into labor to now push out Chickpea. And so the pain that I felt, I'm like, I don't ever want to do it again. That was just rough. So because of the pain that I was in, the next day we scheduled another appointment with our doctor just to make sure everything was fine. Like, the pills did what it needed to do. And we went and she did the scan, and Chickpea was still there, intact, still there. And in my mind, I'm like, the seed of hope just started to grow, because I'm like, okay, there was no heartbeat for a week. This is now week 2. I took those horse pills that's supposed to definitely clean everything out, but here it is, Chickpea is still intact. I'm like, okay, God, this is a miracle. This is a miracle in the making. Like, because the only thing my mind went to was, God, what are you doing? Because those pills were large, and what I felt, Chickpea should not still have been there. And so the other option was, my doctor said, okay, so we're going to have to schedule a surgery. Like, we're going to have to put you to sleep to do this whole thing to get the embryo out. And in my head, I'm like, oh, so tomorrow when I come back, she's going to find a heartbeat, because this is just God now going to work this out. We went back the next day, no heartbeat. Of course, that's when reality hit me, because of course this is now during COVID, and I have health anxieties. And so to now know that my body is a legit grave at this point, like, I'm housing death was the only thing was in my going through my head. And to know that this is COVID time, so babes would not be able to go with me. I'm going to have to face everything by myself. That's when the anger about the whole situation just started flooding in. I'm like, God, why is this happening? Like, why are you doing this? Why have you allowed this? And for me, I think those feelings are natural, because it's like I was hopeful yesterday because chickpea is still intact, and today it's like, now this is surgery. So I'm faced with the reality that chickpea, definitely there's no heartbeat, and I'm now going to have to face this health anxiety of actual surgery, being put to sleep to have this child that we were so excited about now, and I have to do it all by myself. We went to the hospital. It was at doctor's hospital. And I don't know where this peace came from, but I was frustrated and tired, but I was at peace facing this. So I'm like, okay, Lord, I can't say I trust you, and I can't preach about you. I can't testify about you to so many persons. And now I'm going through my test and I'm totally doing the opposite of everything that I would have shared with persons about who you are and what you've done. And so I started to just accept the fact that chickpea would no longer, chickpea isn't here, and that I needed to get chickpea out of my body to save my life, because it wouldn't be fair to him to have lost child and wife. So it was like I needed to accept and just become responsible and just face this thing head on. Did everything that needed to be done, came home, and I'm so proud of this gentleman right here. Like, he's doing his master's, and I thought, like, the time we were going through this, that he would have possibly not been able to concentrate on schoolwork, or like during that time, like his grades came back, like, I don't know what's higher than an A, but he got higher than A's. Like, I was like, how are you able to even do that? Like, he pushed through it and still being able to be there for me. The whole journey has been one where I have a new level of admiration and love and respect for him, but also a closer walk with God, because I could only trust him. Like, he has to know what he's doing and why this happened. I don't pray this on anybody at all, but I'm like, it's something I had to face, something we had to face. And I admire the fact also that we were able to share this story so quick, because persons were like, how are you guys so brave to share it? Because I'm like, we as a ministerial couple, I feel that we have that responsibility to be that example of who we believe God is to us. And so going through this situation like this is a perfect example to show persons that pastors and their wives go through issues too.
We real people too.
We real to, like, it's real.
Real people too.
So this whole process I've grown. I'm sure he has grown, and we are able to share our story freely, not with any anger or resentment. Of course, I'm still sad at times, which is natural, because we've lost our child. Like, we were parents. And we've lost a child. Like, I never thought that I would have been in that category ever at any point in my life. But the reality is, it happened, and we just have to trust God going forward. Now, next month, May would have been the due date. There are times I'm thinking, like, how is next month going to be for me? Knowing that would have been the due date. I guess I'll figure that I'll experience that come next month. But I do have my moments where I'm still sad, but trusting God that he knows what's best.
Yeah. And one thing that perhaps isn't said or talked about a lot is how the fathers feel.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's why I felt it was my responsibility as well to be a voice to it, because as men we go through things too. We may just express it differently, but we feel too. And so I absolutely got even more absorbed in my schoolwork, because in a way that helped me to continue to press forward. Like, uh, man like to do. We like to, you don't like to sometimes dwell. We like to like make something happen. And so for me, I felt like, I need to press forward, continue my education, continue to do what I could do to provide and contribute in the family, as well as, be there for her. But at the same time, I felt that pain of being powerless, because we like to do. One of the things that most men hate is to feel powerless in a situation. We like to feel as if we could alter a situation for the better as it pertains to our family. And here it was, I was utterly powerless to do anything. And so that was a feeling that I absolutely uh hated having to go through. But like she mentioned, we talk about God, and yes, God blesses. And sometimes God allows certain things to happen that may not make sense to us, but by faith, we trust that He knows all things for a reason. And we have to trust Him in the good times as well as the bad times. And so it was painful for us. It was hurtful for us, but we still trust that God has a plan for us, a plan for our future. And so we just choose to press forward and to encourage other people along the way that you can trust God through it all.
And
Yes.
Awesome.
also, I think I think it's natural for persons to think that the female would be the one who speaks out on the matter, but I'm thankful that he also spoke to the matter, because as I said before, I'm not the only parent here. He lost his child to, and for him to be able to speak and share what he went through and the emotions of it all shows his humanness, one, and also the world loves to focus on women and our pain and what we go through, but
Mhm.
men have emotions too, and he might not have shared, he might not have, we the way we both grieved was different,
Mhm.
but he still grieved, and he has to have that room to grieve. And I think sometimes the world isn't fair to men to allow them that space to also grieve and be human, be able to share something so sensitive and share something that possibly could have altered how he sees God and how he is, and how he would have reacted going forward. So I'm proud of the fact that he was able to have that space to share.
Definitely,
Awesome. Awesome.
definitely, definitely. Yeah, because like we said, people go through it, and not everyone is at the point where, they could even years later just even relate to that and just even speak to each other about it. Because, some people not only can they speak to others about it, but in terms of, talking, to their spouse, the other parent in that relationship, who would have faced that loss. Some people are having difficult time dealing with that as well. So it's so good that you guys could share on that experience, so that someone, a couple, someone who is hurting could really look and see and know that, hey, um, yeah, like there is hope. Yes,
Yeah.
something bad happened, but this is not the end of the story.
Right, right.
Yes. And can you go ahead and tell us how has this impacted your relationship?
So like she mentioned, we definitely drew closer together. We go closer in our walk with God and together. Because ultimately, throughout this entire process, God was in the mix. From when she first started to listen to the Spirit, right, and then we got
My
connected.
bad.
But then through it all, that was one of the things that really was the glue for our relationship, our marriage, is knowing that, hey, ultimately there are going to be some things that we don't have answers for, but we could talk to God, and we could talk to God together. That's one thing that we make a staple of our relationship, is to pray together. We pray on, we talk about any situation as it comes up, and we pray on it. And so we drew closer together, trusting each other. We were more vulnerable with each other, able to trust each other with our feelings on a deeper level, as well as how we see our role in ministry as well. We were even more entrenched into seeing that we really have to be examples and to demonstrate and to help others who silently go through these type of things and they struggle. Let them know that, hey, you're not alone. If pastoral family going through these type of things and they feeling that weight, you could do it too. Like, you have hope. You're not alone. And so we have been growing closer and more intentional with each other as time goes on.
What he said.
Awesome. And today we are here with Manasseh and Kenisha Simms talking about their story, Stronger Together.
And
Yes.
Pastor Nasser likes teaching, so we know he's using that as a teaching moment, and it's, like you said, stronger together, right? Yeah. So you'll face problems, you'll face challenges, you'll face so much things that you never imagined, would be possible in marriage. But like the Sim story, you just have to make it to make you stronger together. And we love one of the things that you said you do, and that is not only do you discuss and talk about these things and be vulnerable with each other, but you also pray together. And we cannot forget the value of prayer in marriage as well. Yes. So what advice would you give to couples who are facing, whether it's similar challenges or any challenge in marriage? What advice would you give couples who are facing any of those difficulties?
Well, I mean, starting right there, make prayer a real part of your programming. Like, there are literally some things you don't have answers for. Things about yourself, things about your spouse, and putting your faith and trust that God is able to work in your situation is the first foundation I believe a person should stand on to have any kind of hope for a brighter future for their marriage and even for themselves. So make prayer a priority, and then I would say, through talking to God and knowing who He is and what He can do, develop a sense of humility, because sometimes it's not just your spouse. Sometimes you're contributing to the situation in ways you may not be fully aware of because you're so wrapped up on what they are doing. So ask God to reveal to you, what are you doing that perhaps can impact the situation you may be in, your relationship, your marriage, for better. So if that means there's some things you may have to adjust, some things you may have to cut out, some things you may have to start doing, ask God to reveal that to you to help put you in a better position to work towards a better outcome in your relationship. Because you can't force your spouse, you can't force your partner in a relationship, but you absolutely can adjust your behavior, the way you see things, the way you react, the way you go about things. And so ask God to help you with that. And I believe there are two good things that can help you to start on a better footing.
And I'd like to add that, remember the vow, the part where you said for better or worse. We are so caught up in the for better that when the for worse comes, we don't know how to process that. But the same way we get excited and we share and we communicate with our partners when things are going good. Yes, I know it's hard sometimes to relay your emotions or to explain exactly what you're going through, but any challenge that you're facing, your spouse is there to be like, he's my sounding board. Sometimes I don't want to talk, and it takes me a while to process what I really want to say, and that's okay. That's okay to, it's not that you have to address it in the moment, especially if you don't feel that, but just know that you have to at some point release it. And your spouse is there to that's your spouse is supposed to be your best friend, that person you run to share everything. It's not just the good things. Like, share. There is such beauty in being vulnerable because it creates an environment for intimacy that is on another level. Just being able to be honest about, if I feel sad about thinking about Chickpea, I call him. I love knowing I have the assurance that he's going to listen. And that makes me love him even more. Yes, it might look like, why you look, so somebody might look at it and be like, but why are you still crying? You look weak doing that. No, the challenge that you're facing is a real one, and you need to be able to share that. You need to be able to speak. So a lot of times couples look at being vulnerable as weakness. No, there is such beauty in being vulnerable with that person that you've taken that vow to say, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And the fact that you said that vow, I would hope that you meant it, because sometimes we repeat things not knowing how deep and the true meaning of it. But I hope that you would, for those listening who probably going through a challenging time, remember that you said it, and this is the time for you to put into practice how that for worse, how both of you will work that for worse out part. So that we just remember the vow.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Excellent.
takeaways. Yeah,
Excellent
definitely.
conversation for our viewing audience. Go ahead and put those takeaways in. Let us know what was your favorite takeaway as we bring this conversation to an end. If there are any questions, you can also go ahead and put those questions in the chat. So go ahead and do that. And
Yeah. So, yeah. So, those of you who are watching on Facebook, those of you who are on YouTube, go ahead, put those hearts in where you could. Show the Sims
some
some
love.
love.
Yes.
Definitely. We know that it's not something easy to do, and just to kind of have the strength to do it and just to be open, so open with it. And we just admire the fact that they are courageous enough to let their test be a testimony.
Mm.
And we will definitely keep them in prayer. And yeah, like, Chickpea is special. Very
Yes.
special indeed. Yes, yes. So go ahead, show them some love in the chat. If you have any takeaways, go ahead and put those in the chat as well. We were supposed to say it earlier, and we got so caught up in listening that we didn't say it, so we could say some of the points before we wrap up. But go ahead, we will definitely comment and on them after. So go ahead and leave your takeaways in there, your comments, your words of encouragement. Go ahead and leave that for the Sims for us in the chat, those of you on Facebook and on YouTube.
Yes. Pastor Nasser, can you go ahead and tell our viewing audience how they can connect with you guys on social media?
Social media.
Yes. Yeah.
You can find me on YouTube at Ask Pastor Nasa. That's Pastor Pastah. NASA NASSAH. Ask Pastor Nasa on YouTube. I release a new question of the week every week. Children can send an email to pastornasa@gmail.com. And also you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at the same tagline, Pastor Nasa.
My handle, that you can find me on YouTube, would be Auntie K, AUNTYK. And there's a children's Sabbath school program that I do every week. You can also find the children's Sabbath school programs on kidsclubforjesus.com, where there's so many more children programs there. And yeah, So on there, you will find I do a devotional every day for the kids. It's called Devo Tribes, where we're all superheroes in training for God. So there are 5 minute, less than 5 minute devotional thoughts for our prince and princesses. And on Sabbath is the Anti-Gay Children's Sabbath School program. So we, that's where, yeah, you can find us. Ask Pastor Nasa and Anti-Gay.
Yep.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, Pastor Nasa, Auntie K, we just love the experience we had with you guys today. We want to say special thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on our Sunday Night Live to speak with our viewing audience. It was a powerful story. We know there were a lot of takeaways from there. There were also nuggets that we can learn so we can continue improving our marriage each day. There were some powerful nuggets. So, are there any final words you want to say to our viewing audience?
Trust the process.
Trust the process and work the process. Like the process doesn't happen on its own. You have to put work into the process so that you can trust it. And yeah, trust God. And yeah.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. So there you have it, folks. Trust the process. Trust God.
Yeah, the challenges would come. Yeah, they will come. Like you're guaranteed, if anything, they will come. But just know that you can and will get through it together. And if you stay together, you'll end up being stronger together and you can get through it.
Yes. So, Unique Couples Community, we just want to thank you for being with us this evening. Make sure you tune in tomorrow evening, 7:30 p.m. in the How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook group for Sip and Spill. And then in the Marriage Club, 8 p.m. tomorrow evening for Manage Your Marriage Mondays with Vito and Linda Patrick. And then on Wednesday, on the Unique Couples YouTube channel, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Unique Couples After Dark. So that's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays. This is where we take it a little bit deeper, a little further. So
the adult conversation, right?
Yeah.
So yes, and don't forget to get your How I Love tracker. We are talking about being intentional about your relationship. So get your How I Love tracker. Join us in the How to Strengthen Your Marriage group. Join the challenge as well. So once you get in the group, register to get the How I Love tracker, and definitely join us for the 5-day How to Strengthen Your Marriage and have the marriage of your dreams, even if your spouse doesn't want to, because guess what? Sometimes we just have to work on ourselves first so that we could be who we need to be in our relationship. So it's all free. Go ahead and join us. We had fun as always. And we want to say, yes, enjoy your marriage. Have fun in it as well.
Yeah. So here at Unique Couples, we are building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families. We love you guys. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Have a great week. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.